What's up, everyone? It's your girl Shay here. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome back to my channel if you have been here before. As you can see by the title of this video, I am going to be doing a review on the Manhwa Semantic Error. This is my first time reading a boy love manhwa, and I honestly really did enjoy it. I do know at this point that Semantic Error is actually quite popular, and a K-drama has actually been made based off of this manhwa. I have not watched the K-drama, so my review is going to be about the manhwa only. I'm also going to have definitely some spoilers involved in here, so if you have not read this manhwa, you might not want to watch this video because I am going to be talking about my feelings about it, which is going to involve some pivotal moments or some moments in the manhwa. Just want to throw that out there from the right now. But if you haven't read Semantic Error, basically what it's about two characters by the name of Jae-young and Song-woo. They are in college together and they are complete polar opposites of each other also. The manhwa is pretty much enemies to lovers, with them starting out as enemies at the beginning, and obviously towards the end they are falling in love with each other. Pretty much Song-woo is so different from Jae-young. Like I said, Song-woo is very much a type A individual. He's very rigid. He has his routines that he likes to follow. He's a computer science major and he has no nonsense when it comes to other people. I wouldn't say he disregards other individuals, but people refer to him as being like a robot, as in he doesn't seem to have very much human emotion and is very much just like, I want to get this done, let's get this done. He has no room for error. That's just how he is. Jae-young, though, is very, very different. Jae-young is very much more of a relaxed individual, laid back, go with the flow type of guy, very sociable, has a lot of friends, and it's just so different from Song-woo, just all the way around. Song-woo is like a freshman, I believe, in college, while Jae-young is going to be graduating. And basically how this entire manhwa starts is they are assigned onto a project together, and at the end of this project, Song-woo basically tells the teacher that Jae-young just wasn't ever present, and that it's not fair for Jae-young to pass, which caused Jae-young not to be able to graduate. Jae-young's initial plans at the beginning that you learn is for him to go to the US and for him to work for a company or do an internship at a company in the US. But because of him failing this pivotal class that he had to pass in order to graduate, he must, put his plans on hold for another semester. And Jae-young is very much so pissed. He's very pissed at Song-woo, and Song-woo kind of dodges his phone calls along with everyone else that was on his team because, like I said, he is a stickler. He was upset if you are late to any of the meetings, and so basically Song-woo had done the entire project by himself and then turned it in and made sure everyone else on his team did not get credit, which is wild. But anyway, when Jae-young realizes this and realizes who Song-woo is and figures out exactly who he is, he then makes sure to make Song-woo's life pretty much a living hell for at least a good few months or like a few weeks or so. Basically what it entails is basically Jae-young taking the same classes as Song-woo, or at least signing up for them initially at the beginning, taking the seat that Song-woo would most likely like, as well as following him to places like the library, buying up all of Song-woo's favorite coffee, like blocking off Song-woo's usual walk that he would take after lunch. Basically anything that was an inconvenience to Song-woo, Jae-young basically did. Even with buying up his coffee, Jae-young didn't even like the coffee that Song-woo would actually buy. He just did it to perturb him and make him upset. And Song-woo was noticeably obviously upset about this. He did not understand, and he obviously started to hate Jae-young. There are some other characters that get introduced, like Ji-hae is another one, and she's kind of like a friend of Song-woo's that they meet in kind of happenstance. Ji-hae needs help with some boxes that she's carrying, and Song-woo just kind of decides to help her, but doesn't really want to, but thinks it's probably the best thing for him to do, so he helps her out. And they become kind of friends, more like acquaintances. She's throughout the entire manhwa as well, and she seems to have feelings for Song-woo, but she never actually tells him about it, but she noticeably does like him. But pretty much after this whole thing happens with Song-woo and Jae-young, basically what Song-woo realizes is that Jae-young is a beautiful artist. He's so good at doing artwork, and one of the things that Song-woo has been working on is a video game called, I think Veggie Hunter or something like that is the name of the game that he's working on. It is a mobile game. And he needs Jae-young's help to basically do the art for it because the person that Song-woo had originally had is gone or leaves, and basically offers Jae-young as like another person to help. But again, Songwoo doesn't realize that Jae-young, who now has to help him, is the same Jae-young who was following him around campus and making his life a living hell for a few weeks. But pretty much, they start working together and they start to learn more about each other. Jae-young starts to learn more about Songwoo and starts to really like him and see him kind of like progress, like helps him kind of get out of his shell and break out of the being the type A person that he kind of is. And then Songwoo, what he kind of brings to Jae-young is he helps Jae-young to like, you know, focus on his studies a little bit more, but along the way, Songwoo starts to become a person. He starts to express more human emotions and stuff like that. They do have drama along the way, with Jae-young starting to be very protective of Songwoo, and when his feelings start to show, he really like, especially with Ji-hae, when he realized that Ji-hae did like Songwoo, and making Ji-hae back off and being like, he's mine, pretty much. Songwoo also, for a period of, or like a few chapters or so, did kind of wrestle with his sexuality. He didn't understand like why someone would be attracted to the same sex or why someone would be gay. He just thought of it as being very unnatural, because he thought of it as like, I always thought I would date a girl, get married to her, have kids. That's just how life is. But along the way, with him being with Jae-young, he kind of realized that it didn't matter, that life and the world is changing around him. Same-sex relationships are starting to be a lot more recognized. A lot more countries are starting to, you know, legalize same-sex marriage, which is very prevalent in today's society, which was, I thought was a great thing to read, was that it was very reflective of today's society and what's currently happening in today's world. But you start to see that Songwoo starts to like break down a lot of the barriers that he has and starts to like really kind of come to terms with his feelings for Songwoo. Songwoo starts to come to terms with his feelings for Jae-young. And for Jae-young, he starts to realize that the relationship that he has with Songwoo is much more than just physical. It is much more than that, and he actually wants to cultivate and have a relationship with Songwoo, which was something that for him, while he had relationships in the past, he never took any of them seriously. But the one main issue that looms overhead for both of them is the fact that Jae-young will be going to the US. That's the plan. His plan is to go to the US at the end of that semester, and that's pretty much it. So for Jae-young, he's trying to wrestle with the fact of like, does he want to have a relationship with him when he's getting ready to leave? And will Songwoo just like date somebody else? And for Songwoo, he's kind of wrestling with the same exact thing as well, of like, well, this isn't going to last anyway. He's very much kind of being like, there's no point in me having a relationship with him because he's going to be leaving. That's pretty much it. But as far as how I felt and what I liked and what I enjoyed pretty much about this manhwa was, I did like, obviously, the enemies to lovers trope. I like seeing them go from them absolutely just hating each other and arguing each other all the time to them absolutely loving each other, but still wrestling with their feelings for a considerable amount of time about what to do with the relationship. And was it just a physical sexual relationship, or was it going to be something more and actually become a like committed relationship with them dating each other? Also, what I really enjoyed was also seeing them start to care for each other, and like seeing that relationship progress from it being something physical to it being something more and more of a commitment. That was one of the things that I really did enjoy. And I honestly thought that, yes, there were like little dramas here and there with like other people in the background, like side characters having feelings for one of the main characters. But it seemed like, to me, still the main big thing was going to be, do they have a long distance relationship with each other or not? Or do they just end things at the end of this semester? That's, for me, the main like problem throughout the entire manhwa. Now, the one thing that I didn't like, and this is something that I feel like has been more prevalent in a lot of stories, is that the parts that start to make things a lot more interesting to the story are not flushed out or fleshed out a lot during the course of the story. And I talked with this with a friend of mine, that a lot of times those little tidbits or details that make the story more interesting, end up becoming like bonus or side stories towards the end that the author kind of adds in. But in this case, there wasn't any. So during the middle part of the story, you see Jae-young actually go back home for a funeral, and you meet his family members, and you see that his family members are very stuck up, very much on the whole thing of like one-upping each other and like trying to see who's the most successful. And Jae-young's really not like that. You learn that he does have a twin brother who's kind of similar to him, but honestly not really. And to me, that was the most interesting thing the most, was seeing that dynamic of how different Jae-young was from his entire family. And all I could think of was like, I would have loved to have seen a scene or scenes of Songwoo actually meeting Jae-young's family, because Songwoo has a moment where Jae-young kind of tells him that he doesn't like being around his family or what's currently going on. And Songwoo's response is like, well, why would you spend time with people that you don't like? Like, just very nonchalant and just very to the point. And I think that would have been a great dynamic to see. Songwoo, who like doesn't bite his tongue and has no problem saying stuff that can come off as being very rude, to a group of people that are very greedy and are trying to one up each other and are very much about success. Like, I would have loved to have seen that, but that wasn't really flushed out. And to me, that was one of the more interesting parts of the story, because they were there for like maybe like 4 chapters and then they were gone and you heard nothing else about Jae-young's family. But I thought that would have been neat, and that was one of the only things that I disliked and didn't like about the entire story. But overall, I did enjoy it. Does I recommend people to read it? Yes, I do think it was worth the hype, and I'll be honest, I was kind of worried that it was going to be kind of like something that's happened to me before with a few different other mediums like anime or movies, where it's so hyped up and then I finally watch it, read it, or enjoy it, and it's not living up to the hype of what I thought it was going to be, and it turns out to be so much worse than that, and I just didn't enjoy it. But in this case, I feel like the hype kind of lived up to it, and I did enjoy it. Some of the things that some people did have to say was that they kind of felt like the author kind of like got tired after a while and just kind of chose to end it, when it kind of could have kept going, to be honest, like a rushed ending pretty much. I didn't feel like that. I didn't feel like it was a rushed ending. I feel like it honestly was a good ending to the entire story, where they basically decide to be together, and it just gets to this moment of where like they finally admitted what their feelings are for each other and where they want the relationship to go. And I think, to me, the reason why I feel like that wasn't a rushed ending is because I felt like that was what it was leading up to. I feel like that's what the ultimate decision was going to be, or should be, and how that should end, because there wasn't a question of like seeing what happens and how they continue relationship when Jae-young leaves the US. It was kind of more so like, what do they do in the here and now? And I felt like the author very much communicated that towards the end with the ultimate decision of them to be together and be in a committed relationship with each other. But yeah, overall, if I had to give a rating from 5 stars to this manhwa, I have to give it like a 4.5, to be honest with you. I'm just taking off 0.5 because I wish that some parts of the story were just more fleshed out, or there was more sequences of it, like the family portion of the manhwa with Jae-young's family. But overall, the rest of it I thought was really great. It had moments that really pulled me in and everything else like that. As far as any like trigger warnings I have people, there's no trigger warnings really there. But if you're someone who's very sensitive to like, not even nudity, but just like adult content, because it does have some adult scenes in it, just want to throw that out there, that there do have some scenes in there. So if you're someone who's sensitive to that and does not like that, then I wouldn't recommend reading it. But the author does a great way of like, during certain chapters, if something is going to be happening that could be triggering, and putting trigger warnings up so you will know beforehand. But yeah, that's basically how I felt about it. Semantic Error, bottom line, was a really good manga for me to read. I'm glad it was my first boy love manga that I actually read, or manga that I read. I do plan to read more, and I'll probably give a review also later on the whole Manta app as a whole compared to webtoons, because that's something that I've been thinking about doing for a while. But yeah, if you've read Semantic Error, let me know what you thought about it. Comment down below your thoughts. Did you like the ending to Semantic Error? Did you also feel like the ending was rushed? Did you want there to be more like scenes with Jaehyun's family and how that could have happened with them meeting Songwoo, because I thought, again, for me, that would have been interesting. But yeah, overall, what did you guys think of Semantic Error if you've read it? And do you recommend me watching the K-drama? I'm not saying I'm gonna watch it currently today or within the next like few weeks or so, but I will probably add it to my to watch list because I do kind of want to check it out. But yeah, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Of course, I have links below to all my social media accounts, my Instagram, my Twitter, and I also do have a TikTok and a Threads, so feel free to check me out on there. I honestly put out more Threads than I do tweets, so definitely check me out more on Threads than Twitter. And I will see you guys soon with another video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And like I always tell you guys, stay positive, stay nerdy, and today's day and age, stay healthy. And of course, please stay safe. All right, you guys. Bye.